Change poses a serious global threat that could further spark international political instability, adverse health conditions, and humanitarian crises. Meanwhile, President Trump says he is not a believer, and what's more, he has established an ad hoc committee to reassess the fact of climate change and the science around it. And in doing so, he has appointed some scientists who, like himself, do not believe in climate change. And so I want to ask you, considering our efforts here, is that helpful? Does anybody on this panel think that that is helpful? Okay, I didn't think so. I, on the other hand, I hate to be a self-promoter, but I've got a bill. I chair, another hat I wear is the chair of the National Security Subcommittee on Oversight, and I've got a bill that actually would reinstitute the pre-existing initiative, which basically asks all of our branches of government, all of our departments, just to look at their own operations and see how we might build resilience and help to prepare for whatever is coming down the pike at us in terms of climate change. I do want to, I have a special bone to pick, though, Ms. Young. So I'm also on the subcommittee on aviation here, and I mean this as a friendly exchange. But we talk about RNAV Next Gen, this aviation system that is very, very good at conserving jet fuel, because you've got hundreds of thousands, millions of flights that come in over the course of a year across our country, and everybody's on this tractor beam. It is really precise. It's laser-like, so that tens or hundreds of thousands of flights per year go over the same home, go over the same child's school. And so while it's sort of counterintuitive. I know we're trying to save jet fuel, but I worry about, I've got one of those districts, I'm in a coastal community, I represent the area surrounding or near Logan Airport in Boston. And so I've got some towns where it is relentless that this focus, this laser beam, has flights coming in. I could look out my window, my house. I could tell, I'm so close to the airport that I can tell whether people have their tray in the upright position going by, the plane going by, I swear. So I've got 2 hearing aids, it's over for me. But the towns that I represent, I worry about their health. The emissions coming from those planes, and the noise is driving them nuts. And so these are over schools, these are over small towns, and is there some way, look, now I understand you want to save jet fuel, and so I'm only talking about the end approach of their flight. I'm not talking about, redirecting so there's a huge waste of jet fuel. I'm just talking about when they get in X number of miles, 8 or 10 miles of the airport, and they start to decrease in altitude. Could we change the approaches so that same house in Milton, Massachusetts is not getting, 10,000 flights a month? Or that the Cunningham School in Milton, Massachusetts, those kids are not getting that plane flying over their school every single day. I've got a bill that, we're hopeful will succeed in terms of having the Academy of Sciences look at the impacts of that. I would really like to have, somebody on the human side, if you will, maybe the Harvard School of Public Health, look at the environment that we're putting my constituents in. These small towns, these neighborhoods of Dorchester and South Boston and Milton and Hull that are sort of on the vector, you would say. Are we looking at this at all?
Well, absolutely, Congressman. So first, anybody who experiences aircraft noise, we appreciate that is not something that they would like to have. But we also have to keep this in context. I mean, the U.S. airlines reduced the number of people exposed to significant levels of aircraft noise by 94%.
Because you put them all over one house.
We did that while more than quadrupling enplanements. And you're correct. Some of the performance-based procedures under the Next Gen program do concentrate or shift the noise, and so people who either didn't experience it before are experiencing it, or as you suggest, it does focus it in more precise flight paths. So there are various ways that things are being addressed. One, we continue our relentless effort to reduce noise overall at the aircraft source through our own efforts, through working with the manufacturers and programs like Clean. But second, as you roll out these new procedures or you revise the procedures, in 2014 and 2016, the Next Gen Advisory Committee recommended very specifically to FAA to enhance its community engagement processes to consider exactly the issues that you're talking about. Yep. And they have embraced those, maybe not at the time 5 years ago, 7 years ago, but they are undertaking that approach to take into account community involvement and roundtables, including the one at
Wait up all my
Massport.
time. We're actually over here. Let me just say, Madam Chair, thank you for your indulgence. I really appreciate that. Look, it's a coastal community. You can fly over the water. We can solve this thing. You fly over the water rather than over the houses. It's really simple. But I need your cooperation on that. So maybe we can talk later offline. Madam Chair, I yield back the balance of my time that I don't have, and I appreciate your
You have no
indulgence.
time. It's starting to sound like a Saturday night